Hello friends, on this video I'm going to tell you a spine-chilling story about a serial killer from Milwaukee, USA, as I do a makeup look inspired by the Queen Badgalriri's makeup look. I'll insert a pic somewhere here on the screen for you to see what we are going for, and at the end of the video, down on the comments, you'll rate my look on a scale of 1 to 10 on how I did, and also comment the name of the serial killer I've just told you about, because I'm gonna name him Mr. X. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm RIHANNA'S. You're most welcome, and if you are a return subscriber, thank you for stopping by and feel welcome. Let's get into it. So I'm just prepping my skin. This is Maybelline New York, the primer. This is the story. This serial killer, he used to live in Milwaukee, USA. So the boy was coming from a very troubled home. He was from a very troubled home from when he was still young. His parents separated. So Mr. X was born with hernia. So that condition, obviously, when a kid is born with that, they have to go through a hernia surgery. After that surgery, when he was still a kid, he was very good. He was doing fine. His behavior, like behavioral wise, he was okay. But later on in life, after the surgery at 4 years, the boy developed very weird characters whereby now he was so unresponsive and yes friends, so this makeup look actually rate me from 1 to 10. So you have two things to do down there on the comments. First, you'll tell me which serial killer I've told you about, whose story I've told you about, and this makeup look, you'll have to rate it compared to the picture I'll insert either here or here. You let me know how I did, or you rate me, and so that I know how I did. So yeah, after his brother was born, he didn't even like, his behavior didn't change. He didn't even like he acted like he didn't like his little brother. He was not excited for whatever reason, which is not some big of a deal because young kids sometimes they behave like that, so you can't judge. So that one, parents didn't even take note of that behavior. They never took note of that. So they continued. Then later on, when he was around 12 years, now the parents separated. They divorced. The parents divorced, and the dad remarried. The mom went to stay alone. So later on now the boy was staying with the father, with the dad. The mom left the boy to stay with the dad because even the mom didn't like her own son that much because of the weird behavior. I don't know, she was afraid of the son, or I don't know why she was, but she didn't show that motherly love to the boy that much as he loved the last born. So the boy kept going, and then when he was staying now with the dad, they've divorced with the father. Now he's staying with the dad. They're just him and his father before his father remarried. So the boy started collecting, like he started having very weird, the behaviors became more weird, whereby now he started collecting dead animals, the dead animals like rats, insects, big insects like big grasshoppers and stuff like that, and keeping them. Anytime he would find a dead animal, he'll collect it, goes to their basement, house basement, and keeps it there. And he will try to keep them in this liquid called is it formaldehyde? This is liquid used to preserve dead bodies. Yeah, so he'd preserve them there. The dad was a scientist, so he had those things at home in their basement, those scientific liquids and stuff like that. So the dad had them at their home. So when the dad noticed that, the dad just assumed, maybe my son is just interested in these scientific things, just like in a normal curiosity. He took it as a normal curiosity. he didn't think much of it or anything, or he didn't take a bigger deal of it. So later on, so the dad, when he noticed that the son has that behavior of collecting dead animals and storing them in that formaldehyde liquid in their basement where his equipments, the father's work equipments were for the lab, the dad didn't think much of it. He just took it like, oh, maybe my son is more interested or more into science, so he's just trying to learn and experiment and stuff like that. So this behavior continued like that until, in fact, the father was actually even kind of promoting it and showing him, because sometimes they could go, like he could go catch other live animals and then he kills them, the son now. He would operate on the dead animal and then start playing with the internal organs of that animal, animals like rats or those other rodents and reptiles, small reptiles like lizards, and then after playing with those internal organs and looking at them, like having kind of some sort of excitement, then he would store them back into the formaldehyde jars. He was very... Friend, remember, this is a 4-year-old kid, so and, this is a very weird behavior of a 4-year-old kid, not being afraid of seeing blood or just feeling excitement on seeing doing such weird stuff, understand? Anybody, not so even his parents, it was so weird. Like that. So the dad thought like, okay, with this at least I will be connecting, understand? With this, with me helping him in how to learn or do all these things, I'll be doing what? I'll be connecting with my son, at least in that way. They'll be connecting. So the dad kept helping him out, and they could go. They could even go. The boy could come. Sometimes he had catched. He could go. They were near a small fishing, I don't know if I can call it fishing pond or where. So the boy could go there sometimes and catch tadpoles. He could catch tadpoles, and then later on, if it finds other bigger animals like rats, he catches them also. So he could catch tadpoles, and then he puts them in a jar of water. Then next thing he'll do, and his major intention, knowingly, he knew like his main goal is to see how these tadpoles are going to die. He'll pour oil on top of the jar and then he close it tight, and then now just sit there waiting to see how the tadpoles are dying. What kind of behavior is that? Like, which kid, most kids, you find like they'll repel to stuff like that. Like, in fact, not even a kid, most people will repel on stuff like that, whereby when it comes to killing something or anything, any creature, any animal, it's not something like a kid will be so much intrigued into doing. So the dad started noticing that weird behavior, like he was like, the interest was extreme. So the dad picked that, and he started now noticing that his son might not be normal, or the kind of interest he has for these animals he's collecting, or the kind of interest he has in science is not the same as the one the dad thought earlier. So it continued like that. Then later on now, the dad now got the boy now, the behaviors continued, and it got very like things really escalated, because now the dad ended up having relationship, and the mistake the dad did, the dad decided to leave the boy alone in that house. Imagine living, by then now the boy was 14 years old. Leaving a 14 years old because you are in love, you go stay with your lover, leaving your 14-year-old boy alone at home. That was a big mistake. So that's what the dad did. The dad left the boy there alone, went to stay with a lover. So he would just like, they give the boy upkeep money and stuff like that. And then also he obviously would call in case of anything, in case he needed anything. So the dad, when the boy the boy was left alone, now he's staying alone, cooking for himself, doing everything for himself. His behavior escalated to the, like, you see, from bad, worst, it went to worst. He started drinking, and his drinking kept going on. He kept drinking to a point now he became an addict. He became an addict at 14 years now. The boy became an addict of alcohol. He became so addicted to alcohol. And then that's when the behavior and all this curiosity about dead things escalated to the extreme now. So next thing now, this boy, one day while he was driving to go collect his alcohol, to go buy alcohol, he saw there's this hiker. He saw a boy, just a boy of his age, was just jogging. Actually, he had been seeing this boy jog on that road for some time. So he knew the time that this boy goes for the jog and stuff like that. So what this boy did, he used to target people from poor background that so many people will even look into. He used to target people from poor background, and most especially the black community, the Asian community, or the Latino community. So those are the major group of victims that he was going for. So those are actually, when you look into it, those are, during those times, that is 1978. Those were looked at as minority group. Nobody cared too much about them during that time. So whether you disappear or not, and then, you know, he was homosexual. So, you know, during those times, this homosexual thing, it was not too, like, people were not so familiar with it, with the concept. So if you are into that community, nobody, like, even your family disowned you somehow. Nobody wanted anything to do with you. Nobody cares where you are, what's happening to you. So you see, stuff like that. So he used to go for those kind of people that he knows, where he knows very well, no, this one, nobody's going to come looking for him. So he felt safe with them, because he knew nobody is gonna come looking for him. I mean, looking for that person. So that's why he used to go for the poor community. So he lured the boy and then went with him. The boy agreed, and then they went with him to their house. So, you know, obviously, but during that time, obviously, like, just as I've said, like, the homosexual thing, it was not too, people were not too familiar with the concept. It was it was a new concept to people, so not many people accepted it. It was not allowed. And so when one is gets a match or a partner, they were so happy or felt lucky, and so they just wanted to keep it for themselves. So when this boy asked him if they can go chill in their house and drink and just relax, he agreed. He accepted the offer and mistook this hiking guy to be homosexual, but he wasn't. It turns out he was not homosexual. So when they went to the house after a few drinks here and there, now Mr. X tried to make his move on the hiker boy. But the hiker boy, now he refused, and that's when Mr. X took because they were while they were drinking, they were drinking on the parlor, at the sitting room. So, and at that sitting room, you know, since a 14-year-old boy is just staying alone in the house, he had taken his gym equipment, that weight lifter or stuff like that, where you lay with your back and then you lift it. So it was there in the sitting room. So he took one of the weights on one side of that weight thing. He took one side and hit the boy on his back, on the scalp, on the back of his head. So automatically the boy fell down and became unconscious, and that's when Mr. X took a rope and strangled him to death. He strangled the hiker to death, and that's how he made his first kill. That was his first murder. So after killing the boy, he freaked out, but it didn't take long before he collected himself again. He went and removed the body of this hiker where he had hid it, and under the basement of their house. He pulled him out, and then later Mr. X started he started touching him sexually and doing funny stuff with the dead body, with the body of this hiker. So people with that behavior, those who who have that behavior, it's called necrophilia, whereby you are attracted to dead bodies. So Mr. X started touching the dead body in a sexual manner. He even did the sexual act with the dead body. He did all sorts of nasty things with the dead body. Any nasty thing you can think of, Mr. X did with the dead body. So after all that, after he got his satisfaction, which he left, he stayed with the body in the house for 3 good days. So when the body had started now decomposing, when the body started decomposing and letting out that odor and bad smell, that's when Mr. X now started dismembering the body. He chopped the body into small pieces. He buried the body. So after the flesh has come out of the bones, he went and he dug up the body parts, and now he put the bones inside the oven and then dried the bones. He dried the bones completely inside the oven. After drying the bones, he smashed the bones with a hammer until they were into powder form. He went, if you want to know, he was crazy enough. He went to their rooftop and then sprayed the powdered bones into their compound. So during his prosecution, when he was asked why he even did that, he was like, oh, he wanted the guy to stay with him for as long as he can. So yeah, that was his first kill. So later on, his dad could come once in a while, check him, and then leaves again. So the dad noticed that he has become now a drunkard. So he decided, okay, I think this thing of you staying alone is not working, and so what we are going to do, I want you to come stay with us. So the boy went and stayed with the father, now with the stepmother. So after some time, the dad took him to college. At around 18 years of age, the dad decided, okay, since you've dropped out of university without graduating, I think now you're going to just join the army. You're just going to join the army and try your life there. You go join the army and try your life there. So he joined the army, and at the army there also he stayed there for quite some time, and later on they had to let him go because he was so much into alcohol to a point now he was not productive anymore. So they let him go. So that's how his army time also ended. So when he came back, now the dad was like, now what can I do with this boy, because he didn't finish college, he didn't finish his university, he didn't graduate, and I've taken him to be in the army. There also he didn't do well. He has been dispatched now, like they've let him go because of his underperformance and stuff like that. So his dad was at crossroads on what to do with him. Mr. X ended up finding another, these random jobs here and there. Those are what could keep him busy now. The dad took him to stay with her grandmother. After his first incarceration, the dad got fed up because there's a time two boys accused him of masturbating in front of them. So after that, he was incarcerated, and then later on, when he was released, the dad decided to let the boy go stay with his grandmother for some time, because he was becoming now a headache, too much headache for him. So during his stay with his grandmother, the grandmother could also see, like, he used to bring young men in his house and stuff like that, and so the grandmother didn't like that, so they used to have issues. It reached to a point where by now Mr. X really wanted his privacy, because the grandmother used to complain of him bringing men to her house. So Mr. X went and rented a house. He went and looked for a quiet neighborhood. There were poor black communities there, and the Asian community, and the Latinos. That's when he started now going to clubbing, the clubs for homosexual people. Those are the places he used to go hunting for his victims. So he'd go there, and then he'd go to a club and then act like he's so interested in you. That is a man interested in his fellow man, so he's interested in you, and then when you talk, and he's the one who will give you an offer. He'll tell you, okay, let's go. I'm going to just take picture. We are just going to have a good time, take drinks. You know, now this is a white man in a poor black community. So during that time, you know, like, they still think like every white man has money or something like that. Or even, in short, when you're poor, you're just vulnerable to so many things. So you'll be just saying yes to anything and everything if you don't have your morals in place. So the boy agreed to go with Mr. X to his place. After they've been dancing. They've been dancing like crazy in the club. They've had a nice time. So he offered this boy, okay, let's go to my apartment. We continue chilling there and having good time. We're just going to chill, drink, and just have a good time, and then I'll take nice sexy pictures of you, and then we can proceed from there and do this other stuff if you want to, and I'll pay you for all that. So this boy agreed to all that, and the boy agreed to all that, and they went with Mr. X to his place, which was not even far. So on arrival, everything was okay. They started drinking. Then later on now, Mr. X always had some pills that he used to put for his victims in their drinks. So he had already bought them. I told you he was so much interested into science, but in a weird manner, whereby he was just interested for him to be able to conduct his stuff. So he knew all these pills or all these drugs that you can lace into someone's drink and make them black out. After some time, he laced this guy's drink with those tablets. So after some time now, the guy became so dizzy and stuff, and so he blacked out. That's when Mr. X now started doing all sorts of things with his body, touching him all over and masturbating on him, doing the sexual acts with him and all that stuff. And when this guy now was kind of gaining his conscience, Mr. X knew very well, like, this is going to be a problem when this man will notice all this happened without his knowledge. He decided now, he went and took a blunt object and hit him very hard on the head, making him again unconscious. After actually knocking him unconscious, he killed him. That's when now after killing, and he did this to all his victims. He'll take time with your body. He can even take 2 days, 3 days with your body, just masturbating on it, having all those sexual acts with it, doing all sorts of things for his satisfaction, you know. After he did everything he wanted with this boy's body, he just now dismembered it, just like the previous one. He dismembered the body, and then now, since he's in his own apartment undisturbed, and he has all the time in the world. He decided to keep, now he dismembered, and actually he was even a cannibal. He ended up being cannibal, whereby he used to eat some parts of his victims. He'll take some parts of his victim and eat it, and then things like the liver, the heart, stuff like that, he'll eat them, or any other part of the body that he feels like eating at that moment, he'll eat it. And then parts like the head, he liked to keep the head in the fridge inside that formaldehyde liquid. He used to put it inside there and then put inside the fridge. The head together with the genitals, he puts them together and then stores them. So he kept doing all that to so many victims, because at the end of all his killing spree, by the time he was being caught, which was 1991, that's when he was caught. By the time he was being caught, he had killed 17 males. So that's quite a number, you know. That's quite a number. So the reason why his murders were looked like they were so gruesome is the way he used to dismantle his victims, and all the things he did with their bodies, the cannibalism, necrophilia thing, and all that. The remaining body parts, he had bought a very big container that was in his house, a very big one. Let me call it a drum. So it was a very big drum. So it was there. That's the drum. He mixed different types of chemicals that dissolves flesh. Yeah. So he bought different varieties of chemicals and mixed them all together in that drum. That chemicals that he knew very well that will dissolve flesh into liquid. Understand? So that's what he did. So the rest of the body parts he put into that container that already had the liquid in it. So he let the flesh stay there for as long as it can take, until all the flesh is dissolved into liquid form. And then after it has dissolved into liquid form, and then they fetch the liquid from the container and pour it into his toilet bowl and flush it, going into the drainage. So that's how he used to do. So he'll do that until now. The only thing left are the bones. So since the bones couldn't be dissolved fully, some bones like the femur and other hard bones couldn't be dissolved with this fluid, he'll take out the bones and then put them in the oven and then dry them completely, then smash them with a hammer into powder form, and then go spray it out just like dust or anything like that. So that's what Mr. X used to do, and he did that for quite some time. Then there's this other time again, he decided, now there's this kid that was I'm calling this victim a kid because he was only 13. The boy was only 13. He was an Asian boy. So Mr. X really liked the kid. I can't even call him, I can't even say liked, like that was just another of his victims. So he found them playing outside next to a liquor store. Then the boys were, obviously he just like kind of jokingly asked the boy if he wants to taste a little bit of drink. The boy was like, okay, fine. So he told the boy to follow him. He's going to give him, because he can't give him in public, they'll see it, and that's a crime. So the boy followed him to his apartment. You know, Mr. X had a very calm and chill spirit, or just his manner. He was like someone very chill, someone very calm. So the first impression you get with him is just that of a nice person or a nice guy. He was so collected. So you know, most of most of people who do such wicked things, such bad things, they're always very jumpy, skeptical, and acting all weird. So you'll pick something is off real quick. But this one, he was so collected, he was so calm. Even in the middle of chaos, he was very calm and collected. After one drink, obviously, since this is a kid who has just tasted the alcohol for his first time, the kid started feeling his head spinning. So the kid was like, okay, I want to go now. Then Mr. X was like, no, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'm not a bad guy, so don't worry, just stay calm. You don't need to go out looking like this. Your parents might have issues, and then later on, if it's traced back to me, I'll also have problem when I was just doing you a favor. It's you wanted to have a taste of all these. The kid also, obviously knowing well, if he goes home like that, it will bring problems and all that, he was like, okay, fine, let me lie down here for a while, then when I get better, I head home. So during that process is when Mr. X was like, okay, Mr. X didn't want to let him go. He spiked his drink more. He added more and then forced the kid to take. The kid drank it. He was like telling him, the kid, like, this will make you feel better, so take it. I've put some energy booster into it, so it's going to make you feel better. So the kid, obviously being a kid, took the drink again, not knowing it's still the same spiked drink. So the kid actually again fell unconscious. That's when Mr. X decided to perform lobotomy on the kid. He drilled his head on the side, and then there's an acid he put in his brain there using a cotton. And the reason why he was doing all that, he was wishing that the kid will end up functionless. Yes, he'll be alive and moving, but functionless, he can't think anymore. So that's the state he wanted the kid to be in, so that he can be with the kid like for as long as it can take. So he performed lobotomy on the kid, and when he did that, now when he put this acid into the kid's brain using the cotton, he dipped cotton into that acid and then inserted into that hole he has drilled, the hole that goes deep inside into the kid's brain. Some things are so painful. And my heart goes for all the family members that lost their loved one through that Mr. X. So my heart goes to all of you. After conducting the lobotomy on the kid, so the kid woke up actually. Mr. X had gone to the liquor store to get more alcohol. So that's when the kid gained conscious again. And the kid opened the door and ran out real quick, crying and screaming and like just shouting. So that's when the neighbors, people came, and then they started asking like, hey, are you okay? What's the problem? Blah, blah, blah. The kid couldn't talk anymore. Like the kid couldn't say anything. And the kid was totally naked. He was just wrapping himself with a bed sheet. So they started asking him if he's okay, starting asking him questions, stuff like that. And since he was an Asian kid, and that block, he was not known on that specific building, because that building was the majority were black community. So they were like, hey, who are you? Where are you from? Can you talk? This, that. But the kid was, he could not utter a word. That's when they called police. By the time the police arrived, Mr. X has also come back from his alcohol errand. So they met there outside on the stairs, and then the police were like, who is this kid? He was like,
the kid was in a vegetable
state. Not even a kid, because he was young, but he was tall, or at least you couldn't tell that much that he's still like 13 or that young. So the police were Mr. X just started by explaining himself. His calm nature, you can't think of anything negative about him, understand? So he just explained nicely, calmly to the police, like, hey, I'm sorry, this is my boyfriend. He's so wasted. We drank a lot last night, so he's still so wasted, and that's why he's like this. So actually he asked for some medicine, and so that's what I went to grab for him, and I just passed through the liquor store to pick a few drinks for myself. So he acted so nice to the police, and actually the police even helped him take the boy back inside. So they went inside Mr. X's house. When they got there, there was another body that Mr. X had killed and he had not yet disposed, and that body has been there for the past 2 days now. So that body was lying inside the bedroom, on the bedside. It was down on the floor. So when the police came, obviously the police just asked a few questions, which he answered calmly and nicely, and then the police were just like, okay, you take care of your boyfriend. One of the police just peeped inside the bedroom. Since the body was on the other side, like depending with where he was standing on the door, you couldn't see because it was on the other side of the bed. I don't know if that makes sense. Like he couldn't see the body unless he went fully and maybe searched through onto the other side of the bed. So that's where the body was. So if the police would have actually just the way they during those times, if they would have just searched the place just a little bit, or just showed a little bit concern and just check that guy, to check the house and everything, they would have found a body, and that guy would have been stopped from killing so many other innocent souls that he killed. So they didn't bother to check the house or anything. The other cop just peeped his head inside the room. He didn't see anything, or at least he assumed everything was okay. Then they left. That's how this Mr. X decided to finish our young boy completely. He killed the boy. Then after killing the boy, just like all the other victims, that day he had double work, dismembering this other body that's already here, that in the next 24 hours will start now having that bad odor and stuff. So he dismembered that body. This other one, he killed the boy, and then now he was there. This one now is a fresh body. He put it aside to do all his nasty stuff for a few days as he dismembers this other one. So he dismembered this other one, kept what he could keep, eat what he could eat, and all these other things like the head and the genitals he used to keep. When he was asked during the trials, he said he was keeping them as a souvenir. If you want to know how people are deranged out here, he said that those body parts that he was keeping as a souvenir, because he wanted to make a shrine he was planning to make a shrine for all his victims, whereby the shrine now of their scalps. After a long time of decaying, now the skin has fallen off. He will just now take the scalp, take off the remaining flesh on it, and then he dries it nicely in a way that, in a manner, not drying to crush it, he just dries it so that he can store it nicely now without it decomposing no more, or at least not letting out an odor. So that's what Mr. X said, or at least that's what he said when he was asked why he was like keeping all the other parts of the body after killing his victims. And mark you, there's this case, the case that led him to be caught. So obviously he got used to his behavior, and obviously as a white man into black community, the police used to take his word for it. So that's why it took long for him to be caught on all these acts. And actually, like, this is a community nobody gave, they never cared too much about, understand? These are the poor black communities, the Asian communities, and the Latinos. So nobody there, they are the major group of people that were living in that area during that time. Mr. X went to the same club where he picks his victims as per the usual. So he went, and there's this guy, they partied all night, danced and everything. So he offered the guy if the guy could go with him to his apartment so that they continue their fun there, which the boy agreed to. After having fun for like a while, he spiked the guy's drink in the hope of doing the same procedure he's been doing to all these other victims. That's the same plan he had with this other guy. That day he didn't put enough, so it didn't the guy didn't black out as Mr. X had hoped he had put less pills. So what happened now? Now when they were, because he had told the same process, the same thing he tells the others, we are just going to chill, have a good time, take photos, and then we can do the act if you want to, and then I'll pay you some money. I just like taking photos for, like I'm a photographer, so I just take photos for my own use. So this guy was like, okay. So after he spiked his drink and he had put less pills, the guy didn't black out as planned. So the moment Mr. X went for his hammer to hit the guy now, that's when they started now. First of all, he'll handcuff you. After he has lied to you, he'll cuff your hands in the name of, like, it's among the procedure, or it's inclusive of, it's in the package of all the things he's going to pay for. So you'll just be, okay, fine, okay, let's do this. So that's how he'll handcuff them, and then do all those things. So this guy was already on handcuffs. So this guy, since he had not blacked out, his senses came back real quick and kicked to survival mode. So he started fighting with Mr. X for his life, because Mr. X wants to hit him with this hammer he's carrying. He wants to hit him on the head. So the guy started screaming and shouting, And mind you, before this guy that made him being caught, before his last escapade, the neighbors who was, and the most immediate neighbor, who was a female, used to call police on this guy every now and then, as often as you can count. Like, hey, this is my neighbor. Every day every day at night he has activities going on. You'll hear noises from that house. He'll come in with a guy, then after a while you hear the person, someone screaming and shouting from that house. You'll hear people like kind of fighting, those movements as if people are fighting. Then after a while it goes quiet, and then you'll start hearing this seesaw. This one used to cut woods and timbers and stuff like that. You'll hear that machine drilling, zzz, like cutting something and all that. And then there's always a very strange smell coming from his house. So please, can you kindly check what this guy is always up to, or what is making the whole area, what smell is that makes the whole area to smell this bad? Like, what is it that he does in his house? So there's a day when the police came. Since this is a white guy and this is a black person complaining, they didn't take that, they never took anything serious, so they just brush it off. So they came, and the police could come. They'll just talk to the guy outside his door. They won't even go in, like kind of respecting his privacy despite all these complaints from the neighbors. They'll come, they'll talk to the guy, then they won't even check man or anything. So there's this one time the police went inside the house. They checked, not even that thorough checking or anything. So the moment they got there inside the house, that stench smell, as humans, we are, and most especially of a decomposing body. So obviously the first thing you feel like throwing up or something else, but there's a way your body will really react to that stench. You won't like it. So the police, the stench hit them, and they were like, okay, what is that smell?
We are wired
What
to
is
repel
wrong?
such smells.
Then the boy was like, oh no, as calm as always, oh no, I'm sorry for that smell. My parents and grandma, they sent me too much pork. I forgot to switch on my freezer, and so they went bad, and I forgot to throw them out. Imagine. And they believed him. And this smell, remember, this smell is coming from those bodies decomposing in that drum with the mixed acids in it. That's where the stench is coming from. So sometimes like he lets it accumulate too much to a point now the stench was all over the place. Even though the drum was covered, but the stench could still, you know, the gas and all that stuff. So he could give excuses here and there. He never lacked any excuse to give. So when it got bad, when it got worse, that's when the neighbor involved police and asked the police to come at least and check. I'm going to use just my palette. Bestie, I don't even know why I was almost forgetting this part. Very nasty part. The boy, our Mr. X, there's even a time, you know, I've told you he was cannibal also. He used to eat these, the bodies. So our Mr. X never went to the butcher to buy any meat or to the store for meat or stuff like that. No. He used to get it from his victims. So sad. So sad. Because it's the reality. I don't know what he was trying to do or what was his motive. He came to his neighbor with a sandwich. Imagine, this is someone whose house, a stench smell is always coming from his house. He's come to your house to talk to you, and he came with a sandwich saying that he just made it for you. Bestie, even if it's you, will you eat that sandwich? Of course not. So our neighbor refused, didn't eat the sandwich. But the boy was like, hey, this is a sandwich for you, eat it. And he was kind of insisting for the neighbor to eat it, the female neighbor to eat it while he's there. He refused to eat it. Later on, she threw it out after the boy left. Because even if it's you, you don't know. Actually, even if it wasn't all about that, eating food from someone you're not so, you're not friends, you're not anything, and actually you've been traumatizing me with all those noises from your house, all those funny activities happening in the middle of the night, the stench smell coming from your house. Then you bring me sandwich to eat? No. Back to the last incident that made him be caught. Now they started fighting. Like the guy is fighting for his life, and this one is fighting to make his kill. So the commotion continued until now. Lucky enough, our boy was stronger than him. So he hit him, and then when Mr. X fell down, he rushed to the door, opened it. Mr. X had forgotten to lock it nicely, because normally he locks it and then keeps away the key. So he forgot. Even that day he was so clumsy, so he forgot even to lock the door and keep the key as he normally do. Our guy ran to the door, opened it, and rushed and ran out, screaming and shouting on top of his lungs. And then remember, this is the middle of the night, around 3 a.m. 2, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., around that time. So the neighborhood is quiet. When he was screaming, he got attention of the police who are on patrol. So they asked him, hey, what's your problem? Why are you screaming? And what's with the handcuffs on your hand? What's with those on your hand? What's happening here? Then the boy is like, hey, there's this guy we met at the club. So obviously, by just mentioning the name of the club, it tells you which type of society this boy belongs to, which is the homosexual society. So the police were like, okay, which boy is this? Take us there. Then so they had to go back to the boy's house, to Mr. X's house, where this boy is claiming all these things happened. The police went back with him there so that they can get the keys, the handcuffs. So when they got there, they found our Mr. X very calm and collected, like nothing has happened. And actually, like, it's like you guys are just waking him up and disturbing him from his sleep. He opened the door nicely. And actually our Mr. X was never, apart from like, when it comes to police people or when he's caught red-handed like that, he was always very calm. He never even acted defensive or in any form or in any kind of way. The police asked him, are you the one who handcuffed this man? He was like, yes, we were playing our normal play. So you know him, he's playing with their psychology just to make the police think like they were just two homosexuals having nice time, and this guy freaked out in the middle of the act. So he's like, no, yeah, I'm the one who handcuffed him. We were just playing and we had agreed that we're going to do all this and then I'm going to pay him. So he just freaked out in the middle because I was just taking pictures of him as I normally do with all my friends or the ones I come with. We just take nice pictures and then after that I pay you, you go. Then the police were like, okay, so where are these pictures that where are the keys for the handcuffs? Then the boy said, Mr. X said, it's inside the room, the bedroom. Now they had to go inside the bedroom with the police. The both of them, the four now, because there were two police who came, and then the Mr. X and this our victim. So they went inside and then the first police, even them, they asked, what is that smell? What is all this? He explained himself nicely, of which they proceeded into the bedroom where the keys were. When they were inside the room, it so happens, the police asked, okay, where are they? He said inside the drawer. So these drawers on the bedside. So when the police went to get the keys, there were so many other Polaroid pictures on the floor and some inside that drawer. Police on looking, he saw, while he was dismembering his victims after killing them, he used to take photos of everything, anything and everything you could think about. He used to take pictures of every step of the act. Every step while he's dismembering the body and cutting everything, he took pictures of all that, of all the victims. He'll take you full picture first before the dismembering. He'll then take you now while he's dismembering you piece by piece. So the police looked down on the Polaroid pictures that were on the floor, on the carpet, and he's seeing nasty, funny, nasty pictures. So at first, you might think, maybe these are just from magazine or downloaded or understand. But on looking, when he pulled the drawer to get the keys, he found more Polaroid pictures of the same kind. And that's when they knew we found something more deeper and more darker than we think or than anybody might think of. Looking at those pictures one by one, they came to notice these are real photos. They are real pictures, not downloaded from internet or from magazine or from anything. These are real pictures taken like with a camera. That's the moment they now asked the boy, like, what are these? He started explaining while stammering and stuff like that. So immediately they called for help. The police called for help for more other cops to come so that they get deep into this, because now they've noticed this thing is way bigger than they thought or than it seems. So that's when when the others came, now they started searching the whole place. Oh my. They found very traumatizing things in that apartment. They found people's heads in the freezer, people's body parts, which are the head and the genitals and other body parts like the hearts, liver, and just other flesh inside the freezer and inside the fridge. Some were inside that big drum there, decomposing in that chemical. It was now full of body parts, decomposed body parts. So that's when now they had to cuff the boy and take him to the station. This other one was they uncuffed him, and then now he was let to go. From there now they started asking him questions and stuff like that, like for him to at least just explain what are all these, because some things in your life you can see, yes, you see it and you know what that is, but you still need reassurance. You need assurance from the owner of that thing or the person who knows much about it to explain to you so that you confirm what you're thinking, understand? Yeah. So his parents were contacted. When the parents were told what their son had done, because actually our Mr. X, he confessed to everything. He confessed. He didn't even try to be defensive and to deny anything whatsoever. No. He accepted everything. He stayed calm up till the end. Every crime he did, he was accepting it all. Actually, when he was caught, right there in his house, when he was caught, he murmured something like kind of saying, for everything I've done, I deserve death for everything I've done. At the station, after he had confessed everything he had done all these years, all the killings he has done, which are 17 male victims he killed. Then they contacted his parents, who also listened to the confession that he had given earlier on when they were not there. They listened to it. And then after that, now the dad went and talked to the boy, his son. Now if you want to know, even the dad had a problem somewhere in his head. The dad now went to tell his son, I want you now to go and tell them that you were just confused, and that's why you admitted that you did all those things even though you didn't do them. So what you do, I want you to act like you did all those things out of insanity. You are insane when you committed all those crimes. So that's what the dad was telling the son to do. Our Mr. X, the father was trying to persuade him to change his storyline, which actually, thank God, it didn't work. The Mr. X said no, like he didn't want to lie about anything that he has done, because even after they went and did test on him to check if he's mentally okay, which they found he was okay, and then he was sentenced to 15 consecutive years for all the victims he killed. After our Mr. X has been imprisoned, during he was so ready to serve his sentence. By the way, he was so ready. He cooperated. I've put the eyelashes off camera. That's all. While he was serving his prison sentence, Mr. X started reading more, like reading Bible more. And then later on, he now wanted to be saved, which he requested if a priest can come and baptize him, which he was allowed. So he got baptized while during his sentence. Kinda that time now he was so close, he was acting like he's so close to God, and regretting all the things he did. Even him, at the end, he said he doesn't have major reason why he did everything he did. So he didn't understand it even himself, or the motive behind it all. He didn't know. The only thing he knew, or the only thing he said he felt, was he was more drawn into to the dead bodies. He was feeling more whenever he sees a dead body, and then he sees your internal organs, like after he has started dismantling you or disembodying you, like he'll be touching your internal organs and playing with them like this. So that slimy and shininess of your internals could make him erect and horny and stuff like that. And he'd still, in the process of dismantling the body, he'll even take a break and ejaculate and masturbate or do whatever he wants to do with the body. So he was really kind of, when you look into it deep, he's someone who was so disturbed mentally, something that even himself, he didn't understand. And there's a day they were working, and so Mr. X, that is now 1994, that is 4 years after being incarcerated, Mr. X was now just working with his fellow inmates, and it so happens that one of the inmates was ziclophrenic, and move couture CM16, this one here. So that's the one I'm going to apply. The inmate, our Mr. X inmate, who was ziclophrenic, he started questioning Mr. X why he did all the things he did. And there's an object he took, a very heavy object, and then from the room where they were working, and then started hitting our Mr. X with it over the head again and again, and ended up killing him. So that day, actually, the ziclophrenic inmate ended up killing 2 guys. The other one was injured. Mr. X died in 1 hour after the incident because he was extremely injured. So he died 1 hour after that, and then the other victim, with the inmate victim, died after a few days from after the incident. Died a few days after the incident in the incarceration. So unfortunately, he left the victims' families more hurt, more confused, more disturbed, because they never got answers as to why he did what he did to their loved ones. So parents to Mr. X also, they felt like at the end of the day, they didn't get to understand why their son had to do all those things, or what led their son into being what he turned out to be in the society. And it's something that when you look into it equally, both sides really wanted to know exactly like what led him to have all this behavior, what led him to be this person that he ended up being. Just a merciless cannibalist serial killer. He was merciless in the form of how he killed his victims, and how he dismembered them, eating them, like how he treated them from the beginning of it all up to the end. So even there's an incident I forgot. There's another one he killed. There's one victim he killed in the hotel, and actually that's the one that even, like, after that killing, leave alone the first killing he killed in his parents' house, the one that he did while in a hotel room, after he hooked up with a guy, and then they booked a room in a hotel. So his main, according to what Mr. X said, his main motive was just to have fun with this person, make him unconscious, have fun with him, and then let him go. But later on, when he woke up the next day, this other guy was dead. And so Mr. X, since they was extremely intoxicated, he couldn't remember exactly how the incident happened. And so he went, Mr. X, after realizing that this person is dead, he freaked out. He went to bought a very big suitcase, came and put the body of this guy inside, and left the hotel with the body. So later on, he went with the body to his house, where he did all the rest. And actually, when he went with it, he didn't even dispose the body immediately. He stayed with the body for another 3 days, did all sorts of nasty things. So that's someone disturbed mentally. And after that incident at the hotel, now he didn't fight. He never even tried to fight the urge for killing. He now went to a killing spree, where now he ended up killing all these others. So by the time he was caught, it was after a very long time, after he has killed 17 victims. It was just too much pain on top of pain. So that's the story, guys. Let me know down there in the comments if you know if you've watched that documentary. Comment down there if you know how our Mr. X is. All these killings happened at Milwaukee. So our Mr. X was killed in 1994 by an inmate. Yeah, he was killed in 1994 by an inmate. And also, my friends, you are the reason why I make these videos. So let me know, like, if you like such stories, true crime stories, so that at least sometimes we have story time like this, where I do makeup, We can chat, or I can tell you a nice documentary that I've watched. We can be chatting about true crime documentaries that I've watched. I can share the stories with you here. So let me know down there in the comments if you like. And this is the look that I've done. This is the look that we've gone for. So this is the look. Let me know down there in the comment, and then I'm going to I'll insert a picture either here or here of our queen Badgalriri, and then you let me know, because these makeup inspo, all these, leave alone the earrings and stuff. No, I'm talking of the makeup look. The inspo is from her, a makeup bit that was on her, so I just tried to see how that look will be on a darker skin tone or a darker complexion. So guys, I'll insert that picture, then you guys will be the judge. Let me know down there in the comments how I did, or how they, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me how I did, how I performed down there. So this is the end of our video, my friends. Thank you so much for watching up to this far, and see you sooner than later. Bye.